Greetings, folks. Daniel Wickwire here, and welcome back to Kaiju Movie Review. I am, as always, joined by my ever-loyal co-host, Mr. Zach.
Well, not as always, since I missed the last time, which, before we get started, I'll give a shout-out to Angela and thank her for covering for me while I was out with some illness, but yeah, I appreciate her stepping up, and because she's normally our editor, and it was very nice of her to fill in, so you guys didn't have to listen to Dan talking to himself for 45 minutes.
Exactly, which is nobody wants to see that. You can go check the view count for my older reviews where I used to talk to myself for 45 minutes. Anyway, I promise you in this episode, me and Zach will not parachute on a deserted island and battle one another to the death, only to be interrupted by a giant primate.
We also promise you that we will not be talking about Gorgo. Sorry, Gorgo.
No Gorgo this week, but we'll talk about that next time, I think. Wait a minute, we went to wait for the end of the episode for that. We're jumping way far ahead. We're completely out of order here. But why don't we get back in line, and you go ahead and let us know what news you got for this week, Mr. Zach.
Absolutely. So I want to tell you guys about the channel, the U.S. cable channel Toku, which is it's pretty limited for what services carry it. It was in another life. It was the Funimation channel, but after they ended their partnership with Funimation, I assume because Funimation is doing their own streaming service now, they became Toku, which happened last year, and they also they still do what they did when they were the Funimation channel. They show TV shows and movies from Japan, be they live action, CG, anime. And they also show OVAs and stuff as well for you anime guys out there. But starting March 27th, which will be around the time this drops, they are going to start showing Ultraman 80, and this will be the first time Ultraman 80 has aired on U.S. television. It was previously available through Crunchyroll, and the broadcast will be in Japanese with English subtitles. And this is going to be taking the time slot previously held by Ultraman Max. But as I mentioned before, unlike Max, which got a brand new English dub recorded, Ultraman 80 is going to go the subtitled route, which I think is the better option for, a show that's 37 years old at this point.
Max, Max,
Yeah,
Max.
Exactly. Dan knows what's up, but no, I just thought I'd share this. There's been a lot of kaiju news lately, and I feel like this is something that might have gone under a lot of people's radars. I think it's cool. I'm happy to see some of the older Ultraman stuff that we never got stateside finally getting U.S. broadcast. So it's exciting. If you get Toku, check it out. It's definitely something that we got to be supporting, so we can show them we want to see some more Ultramans on U.S. TV.
He's got a point. We really do need to support that stuff just so more people can get exposure to it. Because unfortunately, like Zach and myself, it's not like it was when we were little. There's not, TNN, Monster Vision or anything, or AMC's not doing their Monster Fest where they actually showed science fiction films, which now it's just horror stuff, or it's Terror Fest or Scream Fest or whatever they call it now. But when we were younger, that's all they would show on TV. And a lot of kids, they don't understand. They never saw this stuff. They don't grow up with it. So they have no attachment to it. But yes, we do need to support this. And I actually didn't know anything about Toku until Zach brought this up. I saw the news, and he is right. There's a lot of, no offense to Ultraman 80, but there's a lot of much bigger kaiju news that came out this week, in the last few weeks. So it's very easy for this kind of stuff to get swept under the radar. But speaking of bigger kaiju news, and no offense to 80 or anything Zach said, it's very important as well. But a more A-list kaiju news is we actually got the official information on the next Godzilla film, which is actually a Japanese anime. It's got its official title. It is Godzilla Monster Planet. It is going to be released November of this year, so we don't have to wait long for another one. You don't got to wait till 2019 for your next Godzilla show. But it is, I'll give you kind of a synopsis of the plot, which is something we also got, and it's really different than any Godzilla movie I've ever seen. The premise, anyway, it's yes, kind of similar, but it's not. We've not seen it in a Godzilla film. Now, breakdown is, during the late 20th century, humans find out the existence of kaiju, and there's, of course, a kaiju to end all kaiju, or literally the kaiju that's destroying all the kaiju, is of course Godzilla. Humans try their best for about a 50-year span to try to defend themselves against Godzilla and these other kaiju. Doesn't go well. So a plan is conducted to evacuate Earth, to essentially leave Earth, because it's slowly destroying civilization. It's a slow bleed. They can't stop it. They got to get out. An AI system selects who can go and who can't. They get on their spaceship, which is the Aratrum, yes, and they head to Tau Cetus E, which is a planet about 12 light years away. It takes about a 20-year trip. Everybody goes via hypersleep so they can get there. Well, once they finally arrive on the planet, they find out it was not habitable for human beings. There was an inconsistency in the information. It's actually not habitable at all. One of the individuals on the ship is a young man, goes by Haruo. His parents were killed by Godzilla when he was 4 years old. So, of course, in his 20-year hibernation, he's thinking about how can I kill people, or how can I get revenge on Godzilla for killing my parents, because everybody else was so successful in the past. Since the plan failed, a group on this ship, since they have nowhere to go at this point, called the Earth Returnists, actually get majority of the people to turn the ship around, go back to Earth through hypersleep, whatever. When they return, 20,000 years have passed. The Earth's entirely different, and of course Godzilla is running the whole show. So, kind of an interesting plot. Definitely crazy. There was actually some information put out just the other day, because they actually had a big press release. It would be today in Japan, tomorrow for us. So a lot of big information came out. I'm not going to talk about that. That'll be for another time, where you can look it up yourself. But it does look like an interesting show.
I would hope that Anno's involved, but I'm guessing that he probably isn't, since he's kind of doing other stuff right now. I mean, he's got a pretty wacky mind when it comes to anime. I mean, you are aware of his resume. I mean, Evangelion and a lot of other Gainax stuff. So,
well, the people. Go ahead.
No, excuse me. I was just gonna say. I mean, he's a little bit of a crazy dude.
Well, speaking of crazy, the creative team, it looks like has there's no affiliation to Gainax that I know of through the titles that are listed. The director actually was a director of, I believe, a recent Detective Conan movie, The Darkest Nightmare. So that's weird. The director, and then somebody who worked, and then also someone who worked on Knights of Sidonia and Aegin, and also it was penned by a Gen Urobuchi, who actually did the anime Psycho Pass, which if I remember Psycho Pass correctly, because I believe I've heard of that. If it's the thing I'm thinking of, if it's going to be anything like that show, it's going to be a little bit weird, like disturbing weird, not like Rainbow. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I like Save the Earth bar scene in Hedora.
Yeah, this isn't going to be Godzilla versus the Smog Monster.
No. I mean, it might be. I mean, it'd be crazy if it was, but But I've heard other stuff, but I don't want to say because that's from not necessarily official. But it looks really cool. But it seems like it's got a decent team. But most of these directors and stuff are shows I don't watch anymore. I'm not really as big into anime as I used to be.
Yeah, and neither am I. I mean, I mostly just watch like stuff I watched growing up, not so much things that are currently airing on television. So.
Alright, so today we're going to get into our film, and I'm going to get it out of the way, so this will be the last time we ever say this. This will be the newest film Kaiju Movie Review has ever reviewed, and we can officially kill that little saying, because this is a brand new film. We've got to the point where we're actually reviewing a brand new movie that's still in movie theaters, so the saying is officially done. We've officially eclipsed that point. It only took us 9 years practically, but hey, we're there. Today we are talking about Kong Skull Island. It was released on March 10th, 2017. It was a global release. I think it may have been released a few days earlier elsewhere, but it was released in the States on the 10th. Runtime is 118 minutes, which is an hour and 58 minutes for those of you who don't want to bother with the calculations. It was directed by, I'm going to try not to murder this man's name, John Vogt Roberts. It's V-O-G-T, and I'm just not good at pronouncing anything, so we'll run with that. Some of the writers are Dan Gilroy and Max Borenstein. And, of course, the main acting crew is Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson, John C. Reilly, and John Goodman.
So you got a nice, healthy mix of old-timers and youngsters in here.
Yeah, no, it's nice. You know, we got some old school and then some new school, and there's other people in here that are worth note, but those are the main ones that come to mind. The film opens in 1944 with an American and a Japanese pilot parachuting onto an island. Of course, this being in the middle of World War II in the Pacific Theater, their planes are going down, they parachute land on the island. Their first instinct is, well, as mine would probably be in that situation, this dude's going to try to kill me because we're on opposing sides, we don't know each other, whatever. So they go into battle to try to do that, kill one another, but their battle is immediately interrupted by the appearance of King Kong. Cut to 1973, where we meet Bill Randa, who is the character John Goodman plays, a member of Monarch, and at this point they are struggling because since the formation of Monarch by, I believe it was FDR, in the 50s, there hasn't really been anything concrete from them, so essentially they've been frittering away funds, not wasting it, trying to find something, but not had any results, so what's the point of funding something that's not viable? So he has one last shot to go to an uninhabited island called Skull Island that nobody's ever mapped, nobody's ever been there, he's pretty sure there's something, and he essentially begs and pleads, and even everybody, to get there. He has one final shot, he gets it, and he is accompanied by Colonel Packard and his brigade that actually America just abandoned the Vietnam War, and these people were about to go home, but he got, again, Packard and his brigade there. He got the tracker James Conrad and the photojournalist Mason Weaver to accompany him on this little surveying mission. The island is surrounded by a perpetual storm, which is the reason nobody's ever been to the island. The team is helicoptered in by Colonel Packard's brigade, where upon arriving they use seismic charges, which are really just bombs, to map the top of the surface and underneath the surface because they're trying to test the hollow earth theory. Kong, of course, doesn't take too kindly to this, and rightfully so. If somebody started blowing at my house, I'd be mad too. He destroys all the helicopters, kills most of the team going in, and we're left with a few scattered remains of this group who are at this point all over the island and have little to no ability to communicate with anybody except through very short-wave communications.
The team, which has been separated into 3 groups, all attempt to head to the northern side of the island, where they're going to be picked up by a refueling helicopter in 3 days. While 2 of the teams are intent on getting to the north side of the island, Colonel Packard wants to get revenge on Kong for the death of his men. Each of the teams goes their own route through the island, and after encounters with various monsters, see their numbers whittled down further than they already were. One of the groups, led by Conrad, comes into contact with the island's natives and meet Hank Marlowe, the American pilot who crash landed on the island at the beginning of the movie. Marlowe warns them about Kong and also tells them about some of the island's other monsters, including the skull crawlers, which are said to be the most dangerous on the island. He asks for their assistance in fixing his boat so that they can get the 3 groups together and get off the island, because at this point they have only 2 days remaining before their only opportunity to escape leaves them.
And if you want to find out what happens in the rest of the movie, you just have to go watch it in the movie theater, because you can't watch it on DVD. You can't watch it on Blu-ray because it's a new movie. But with this show being as new as it is, and actually this is the 3rd weekend of Kong, and it's been doing really well. It still should be at most major theaters. This will hit next week, so you'll be looking it's not far because we're recording this late. So you'll be looking at, it should be in most major theaters still because it's still doing well. If not, it'll slowly start flooding into second-run theaters, but it should still be out there. But yeah, you need to go watch it. It's new. It's new.
It's true.
Oh, it's damn true. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the best part of the special effects and the monster designs, and we will do this easy and simple and straightforward. And special effects were really good. It's a brand new movie. It followed on the heels of Godzilla. It's part of their big monster verse. Godzilla did really well.
It is a big budget AAA Hollywood title. These special effects are top notch. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
let's sum this thing up.
Exactly. There you go. You don't need to know everything. I mean, everything was really good. There were some articles I hadn't read where they talked about the specifics of the special effects, but I hadn't got a chance to read them yet. So, anyway, let's talk about the more important part of this, the monsters, because the characters are really good. They're all likable. We'll talk about that later. But the monsters, that's the important part. We got a good reference to Godzilla vs. King Kong in the form of a giant octopus.
Yeah, the Odaku came back, man.
Odaku, bro. And I was excited. I didn't expect when it was in the film. I thought it would be much later. But I was excited for Octopus. You might as well have called it Odaku. Just, I don't know if that's part of one of Toho's little branding things, because they got a branding thing for all their kaiju. But, hell, why not? Just put him on a big-ass octopus. They did it for freaking Gazora. All he is a big squid.
It's true.
Just because Odaku wasn't a dude.
And we hear a kaiju movie... We here at Kaiju Movie Review, we love us some Gazora.
Oh gosh, yes. We like Gazora. Gazora is where it's at. I did a review on that movie a long time ago. It's not very good, but you can go back and watch it if you want to. I don't know. I want to do it again.
Plug.
It was during my inconsistent period. We'll just call it that. But there was so many monsters in this movie. There was, of course, Odaku was in it. We had this big-ass yak thing. We had the crazy razor bird, pterosaur things. We had the bamboo spider crab thing. We had, of course, Kong was in it. We had the skull crawlers. They're just hemorrhaging monsters.
We have the big walking stick that Dan always.
I always forget about the damn stick. All right, the stick,
which is probably my favorite monster design in the whole movie.
Which is funny. It was really
super cool.
Remember, we talked. It's a walking log.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's just one of those things, like, you didn't expect it, so it was like a surprise to see it at all.
That's true, because you see it in the trailer, well, at least one of the trailers, and
I was going to say, I only saw the TV spots. I never went out of my way to watch any of the regular trailers, because I knew I was going to go see it, so.
Yeah, me too.
I saw what was shown to me on television, and that was it.
Well, see, for me, I watched a few of the trailers, and then, as it got closer to the film getting here, I'm, trying to, put blinders on. I don't want to know. And then people went to early premieres, and then Korean Kong caught on fire. I'm I don't want to know. Don't spoil it for me. I got away pretty scot-free, except for, which we won't talk about it, but the topic, or what the stinger at the end of the credits was about. And that was the only thing that was spoiled for me. And I was so pissed. It's the only thing I hate Facebook about.
Yeah, darn you, Facebook.
I know.
And by the way, as Dan just indicated, you go see this movie. You stay for after the credits.
Please do.
You got to.
If you didn't watch the last video we did, the Kong Skull Island vlog, it technically was released after the Monster Bites. Before Monster Bites, but it was scheduled for after Monster Bites. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. The last one. Hanna-Barbera Godzilla. Go learn something about a really goofy animated version of Godzilla. But, yeah. Anyway.
There's a possible reference to that show in this movie, so.
Shut up. There isn't. Oh, wait, yeah. I was like, wait a minute, you're full of shit. And I'm like, oh, wait, never mind. Yeah! See, I forgot, because, yeah, I got you. But as I mentioned in the the Kong Skull Island vlog, Angela and I did, 5 groups of people, including myself, stayed for after the credits, and the people in front of me only stayed because I said, hey, you might want to stick around, there's something after the credits. Totally should have shouted into the audience, and people started to get up, hey, there's something after the credits, stay, so we can kind of get the connection here. Everybody left. And the theater was packed. It was pretty well packed out. Admittedly, most of it was because most of the people couldn't get into Beauty and the Beast, but hey, whatever you got to do to get people to watch a movie, or a movie.
Can't see live-action Beauty and the Beast? Go watch King Kong.
It's the same thing. Same thing, Beauty and the Beast. It's in there. There's only one lady in the whole movie. Well, only one main character, and that's a woman. That's my fail-safe for that comment. But anyway, the monsters, which is actually important here, what we need to be talking about. Not counting Kong, my favorite was the bamboo spider.
Yeah, that was a really cool one. I guess that I guess I hadn't said it yet, but I don't think that there was a bad monster design in this entire film. No. I really don't.
Nope. It was good.
I liked all of them. Like, the skull crawlers were super cool looking. Kong looked awesome. I loved the big walking stick monster. The yak things looked really cool. I mean, you didn't get a really good look at the pterodactyl things.
Yeah, the knife face.
They seem kind of they seem kind of cool.
Yeah, no, No, we can't do that. That belongs to somebody else.
I know. Shut up, Dan.
And we
I know what I'm
reviewed
talking
Pacific
about.
Rim. It's a few episodes back. Might as well just plug all the damn episodes at this point because I'm just referencing random videos we've done. Be it with
and maybe in the future we'll review the other Kong movies.
We should totally.
Only 4 of them.
We should totally do King Kong Lives next. Let's do them out of order because that's how I do it on here. I don't give a shit. We just review them all.
We could just do them backwards.
Well, that's what we did with the Godzilla movies when I was actually reviewing those. Started with doing some of the Heisei films, and then, what did we end up doing for Godzilla's birthday? No, it was for Christmas. It was for Christmas because it was ice in it. Godzilla raids again. Instantly a Christmas movie. Got snow, makes it a Christmas movie. That's my logic. But yeah, we did that, and then we did All Monsters Attack. But yeah, back to, why do we keep getting off topic here? We're supposed to be talking about the monsters. The spider was awesome. There was a lot of insectoids. We got like one mammalian thing outside of Kong. Got the yak. Didn't really do a whole lot. Actually, you see it twice in the movie. I think it's a separate one though.
Yeah, you see a different one after they arrive at the native village.
With the helicopter thing.
Yeah.
But, all the designs are really cool. And I think it's neat how a lot of them, they actually played them strongly into their environment. And the one I'm always going to reference is the bamboo spider, because they're literally in that bamboo forest. I'm like, it literally came, for me, it came out of nowhere. I was like, okay, this is new. But it was clever. It was very clever, but that is, if an organism lived in that kind of environment, that is how it would use cryptic coloration or mimicry to live in that environment, to hunt, to survive in that environment. And that's what I like.
Yeah, it's true. It's cool. I mean, they did some really cool stuff with the monsters in this movie, and it's something you just gotta go see it for yourself.
Oh, we need to mention the Skullcrawler too, because you told me about this, and then we'll get to Kong. You told me this, and I didn't realize the references, the anime video game references of Skullcrawler, inspirations.
It was based on not only the pit crawler from the original 1933 King Kong, or the pit lizard, or whatever they called it. It was in the movie for like 2 seconds, so it doesn't really matter. It also had influences from Seychel, the angel from Neon Genesis Evangelion. It
Episode
had influences. 1. Yep. The only thing that could have made it even more blatant is if he shot exploding crosses.
Yep.
They also had. It's also apparently design was influenced by No Face from Spirited Away, and also the Pokemon Cubone, which all those really make sense when you really look at it.
Oh yeah. You see how like the leg position and stuff like that, and kind of a little bit of that reminds me of Seychel, because I actually like the original Evangelion series, and I don't give a crap about the later ones. And then the Cubone, and you see it. You just got to watch it, especially the one particular Skullcrawler at a certain point of the movie.
Yeah, which we won't talk about.
Yeah, we can't do that. But I love the design, and I want to talk about the pit monster, because this is something that I will cover on a bit of Monster Bites whenever we do. Probably when we get closer to actually doing King Kong. Because with the original, whenever we review the original, I'd like to do a Monster Bites that talks about the spider pit scene, which was a scene that was supposedly filmed for the original Kong, but there's no surviving cut of the film with that scene in it. It's the scene where...
It's sad.
It is. It's the scene where in the original, of course, they're running away from Kong, or they're running away from something, and they encounter Kong, and they're on the log bridge, and he shakes a bunch of them off. Well, the main character swings down and gets in this little cave opening below Kong. While he's hiding down there, you see something kind of crawling up the side of this cliff, and it's a lizard, or a reptilian creature, with a tail and only 2 appendages, which of course normally would be 4, and it climbs up, and then they cut the ladder, or the character cuts the little vine that's climbing up, and it falls. And it's literally in the movie, is like Zach said, 2 seconds. It's 15 seconds or so of screen time. And that is our villain of this new movie. That one little scene of this monster that likely would have got more screen time had the spider pit scene, it'd still be out there to some extent. But yeah, it was only in that little scene and never used again. And then it became our villain of the brand new King Kong movie. Our primary antagonist.
It makes it neat.
It does. It makes it neat and obscure. And you know how we like obscure stuff here on Kaiju Movie Review. And now we got to talk about the main man himself, Mr. Kong, who, this is not the largest version of King Kong, but they state that he is not full grown yet. Because he's 100 feet tall and Godzilla's 300 feet tall. So we got a little bit of a height gap here. But, you know, he can grow up. He can do his Wheaties and shit. Or just irradiate him. Why not? I gotta cut those out. I know, bad words.
Good job, dude.
That's like a lot.
Can't do
like
that. We're appropriate here, dude. You're dropping like
I know
an F-bomb and using the big. You're using two of the big three, man. What the hell?
I thought there were 11.
Whatever. Shut up.
I know that's only if you're a sailor. I gotta make a SpongeBob reference. Anyway,
that's 13, boy.
Yeah, that's right. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, Kong I think is really neat about it is he's based on the Toho Kong. He's more bipedal, large, kind of like more like Australopithecus. If anybody knows anything about prehistoric anthropology, Gigantopithecus or Australopithecus, stuff like that. It's more of a bipedal. You know, I stand erect. I don't need to slouch over like all the other versions of King Kong. They're more based on like a modern gorilla silverback kind of thing, where this one's of course more on the Kong, and he's not black or gray, he's brown, which is really awesome, and it's cool. It's all Toho. It's got Toho slapped all over it, and it's freaking awesome.
That's why we had Odaku in there. I mean, you gotta really solidify that it was the Toho Kong.
And I like how they did that. They didn't like, well, let's just use the other one and have that fight, and we'll just make it interesting. And like, no, they made it. They're literally doing like everything possible to make the upcoming Godzilla vs. King Kong, and it's not a spoiler because we all know it's going to happen, like it should be. It should be like that. So I'm super happy. And there's some people that might not agree with us, and by all means, let us know in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, I'm super excited about that. I hope we get struck by lightning and like he has electrical powers too. Oh gosh, it's gonna be sweet. But yeah, all the monsters are awesome, right, Zach?
Yeah.
We can't.
We have been really just getting off track with this podcast, man. Like we're all over the place.
We are. We're excited. It's a good. The movie's exciting. It's a good movie. Do you have anything you want to interject about the monsters, except the fact that they don't show the giant log bug very much in the movie?
Not really, man. I just loved all the monster designs, man. Like I said, there was not a single one that I didn't like. There was not anything I was disappointed in or anything.
Oh, I know one thing we forgot. Oh, I need to mention. King Kong needs to get drunk off berry juice.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
Of course, I have to make mention of that. Okay, we're going to completely skip the film availability and pricing because it's in movie theaters right now, and your pricing is going to depend on what movie theater chain you go to and where you live, and 3D or
yep.
rumble seats, whatever.
You can't. I believe that it is up for pre-order on certain sites like Amazon and Best Buy and such, and you can pre-order it on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Ultra HD. And again, your prices are just gonna vary based on what format you want.
Exactly. So there you go. There's prices and availability. It's not out yet. You can pre-order it in pretty much every major format. Closing statements and recommendations, Zach. Do you recommend this movie?
Closing statements. Absolutely. There was nothing I didn't like about it. Characters were all likable. The kaiju designs are all great. There's no... One of the biggest pluses for me, there was no forced romance subplot.
Yes.
Which was great. It was so nice to see a modern movie with none of that. The soundtrack was fantastic. There's a lot of era-specific music in there. Black Sabbath, Jefferson Airplane. So many good songs on the soundtrack, and it all made sense. They were all the original recordings. There was no garbage covers or anything like that. There was really nothing I didn't like about the movie. Like I said, all the characters were great. To me, the standout character in the film was John C. Reilly's character, Hank Marlowe. Everything about this thing, I loved it, man.
Why do you gotta be so negative? I mean, covers can be good, but I do agree with you that they shouldn't use covers in an era-specific film. It's
exactly.
Stupid.
This is taking place in the 1970s. If you're going to use at the time modern music, you have to use the originals.
Oh yeah, no argument here.
Oh no, absolutely. Go see the movie. If for whatever reason you can't see it, go buy it when it comes out. It is totally worth it. It's one of the best kaiju movies to come out in a long time. I would honestly say I probably liked it better than Pacific Rim, and I had liked it more than the 2014 Godzilla. I'm really glad I got a chance to go see it in the theater, and it is definitely a film I'm going to be picking up the 4K disc as soon as it's available, as presumably sometime over the summer.
God, man, I'm staggered by that comment. Wow, that was powerful. Anyway, not that, but when you said it was better than Pacific Rim, like, oh gosh, that's a bold claim. I'm gonna follow up with that. So hear me out. I agree with what Zach said. It's a great film. The casting is great. All the characters are super likable. It's not just a bunch of humans surviving on a rock with monsters, and they got 3 days to get off the island or left there, and they all die. It's that they inject a human element to it with Samuel L. Jackson's character, Colonel Packard, who is suffering, likely, if you watch early in the movie, suffering from some form of PTSD, and he's just the Vietnam War just ended. He literally has nothing to do at this point. He's a man. He's a soldier. That's what he knows how to do. He doesn't know how to do anything else. That's what he wants to do. You can tell right from the beginning of the movie.
He's looking for a fight. He's not out to try to help people. He wants a fight.
And whether he's right, whether he's wrong, it doesn't matter. He wants to do that fight. It's like what's his name? John Goodman's character is talking to him about what happened because of course Goodman had a good idea that there was likely monsters on the island, but he tells me he says get us off the island with proof. Then we can send in the cavalry and get your man. And Packard's comment is, I am the cavalry. So he was not leaving. He was not leaving that island. Nobody is leaving that island. At least he's not. Or his men until that monkey, or since it's a primate, I know it's a primate, it's not a monkey, is dead. So that was his goal. It gave him a reason to live. It gave him a reason to fight. That's all he needed. And I love that drive because it wasn't so much the creatures around them that were killing him. It was the actions of humans that allowed situations for the monsters to further pick their numbers down. So pick their numbers apart. So that's what I like. It wasn't just, oh, monsters, run away, into an ending. No, it was good. And then, of course, I love the kaiju. There's a lot of nods to other kaiju films in it. Or you got Odaku, you got Samuel L. Jackson says his line from Jurassic Park, hang on to your butts. There's references to anime in it. John C. Reilly's character, Marlowe, wears a jacket that says good for your health, bad for your education, which is likely a reference to Akira, which Kaneda's character wears a jacket that says good for health, bad for education. And it's little stuff like that. The director of course, likes video games and anime and all that kind of stuff. So it's nice to have somebody that makes all these references. And there was a character, one of the natives on the island, a woman, had a cross painted on her head or tattooed on her head, and it looked like the symbol of Mothra from the Heisei Godzilla films. And it went by really fast, and I could have missed it, but I got super excited and tried to tell my wife. We were in a theater, and I couldn't be loud, and I told her after the film, and she's like, oh, I didn't catch that, and it's fine. I know I saw it because I've seen it so much, and she's seen some of those movies, but, it's what I do. So, no, nothing against her. It's just, something you really like, you notice things like that. But there's so many more references to that. There's tons and tons of stuff in that movie. And it's done well. Some of it's really well hidden, some of it's not. And I don't know. I don't even know. I could just go on and talk about this, but go watch it. It's really good. And my only thing I didn't like about it is, because I did like the characters, is everything that happened about the Dear Billy stuff. That was my one thing I did not like. It wasn't like this movie sucks because of it. It was just one of those, damn it, why did that happen kind of things. So I was so invested.
I imagine it hit you a little bit differently with you having kids and all, so.
Well, yeah, that too. And, I like that was a gag that kind of ran through the movie, because it kind of humanized the characters a little bit. And I mean, that's a hard thing to do. Is, a lot of kaiju or monster movies, the characters will get overlooked, where another thing I'd like to state is...
they're more of an afterthought.
Exactly. And not all of them, but it tends to be that way, from a lot of the crap we have covered, like Gamera movies and stuff. They're just there to be there until the monsters show up. This movie, with what Zach, this will be my final thing. Yes, watch it. But what I said earlier This movie I felt was a better introduction to the MonsterVerse than Godzilla 2014 was, and I do like that movie. But Kong, the best way I've been able to sum up Kong, it is a Vietnam-era war film like Apocalypse Now, Platoon, Tigerland, with kaiju in it. It is non-stop action. You get some dialogue in there, but it's carried well. The movie's just a little under 2 hours, so it's about the average running time these days. There's not really much of a dull moment in it. Everything flows good. There's always a different monster. It's not just Godzilla and Muto or just Godzilla or whatever, and we have to... It's kind of hard to put humans on the ground and make it seem like a very hazardous situation to them. Because like Godzilla, it's like you going out and stepping on an ant outside. I mean, it's not a very exciting event. So, you know, it can be done well. You can go see Shin Godzilla. That was done really well. It just depends. But it can be hard. Where Kong was a full-blown action film, Godzilla, while an action film, was more of a slow burn, like the original Godzilla. So, but maybe it was just me. I loved Kong. I can't say it's better as an experience than Pacific Rim, but I would definitely say it was up there because Pacific Rim just hit me. As I said, go watch our Pacific Rim review. We did it not long ago. Again, I'm plugging this one again. It just hit me on a certain level, and I don't know why. That movie just really grabbed me. But Kong is definitely up there. I will say it's better than Godzilla 2014, and it's easily one of the best Kong movies done to date, but I don't think it's better than the original. Not by a long shot. It's better than Kong 2005. But that's a really good movie, too.
I agree. I think it was a fantastic movie. It was a great experience, and I agree with you that it is probably the better entry point to the MonsterVerse. And you know, honestly, I think watching Kong, I think if you went back and watched Godzilla, there's probably a little bit more stuff you appreciate, honestly.
And yeah, and that's I think all we need to say about it because we've prattled on with this. You know, you get the gist of it. It's just a really damn good movie, and go watch it. It does reference a lot of other Kong movies. I do have to mention this before we go, and this will be the last thing I have to say about it, even though I said that earlier. it borrows from a lot of elements of other Kong movies, even a little bit from Kong 76, even a little bit from King Kong Lives. I know most people don't like those two movies. I don't like Kong 76 very much, but I will say it was literally its own beast, not to be a pun. That isn't meant to be a pun, but even this movie is the same way. It doesn't feel like any other King Kong movie, and that's not a bad thing, but it's not retelling the same story over and over again. It doesn't give you... I mean, you get a little bit of Kong's origins, but you never got Kong's origins pretty much in any of the other King Kong movies, for the most part. It changes it a little bit, and it's just not the same sacrifice a girl, Kong comes, the people gotta come save him. It's nothing like that. So
yep, that's true. It's more of an action film.
Yeah, it's fun. Watch. I mean, even the old Kong 33 was, but it's different, and that's I think that's one thing I really like about it. But that being said, why don't we go ahead and do our shout outs and stuff, Mr. Zach, and we'll move on.
Absolutely. As always, you can find me over on Twitter at CultureZacked, and that's culture with a K. And you can also find my writing over on cultureshock.com, where I help cover video game related content, and hopefully soon, if I can get Dan motivated to do so, we can revive the KMR blog and we can start getting a little bit of writing going on there as well.
Well, I'm definitely all for that. Actually, Angela's one step ahead of us about bringing that blog back. So she's actually working on that too, so she's doing the footwork on that. But anyway, so keep your eyes open. We'll make a post about it somewhere. It'll likely be on the Facebook page and so on and so forth. But as always, I am here every week releasing some kind of new content for Kaiju Movie Review. KMR is, of course, our primary source. We do videos bi-weekly on that. And in between each one of those weeks, we do Monster Bites, which is if you've not seen them yet, are short, factual videos about various parts of Kaiju and Monster Movie, the Kaiju and Monster Movie fandom. So check them out. Like I said, last week we did the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, and 2 weeks before that I did a video on Creation, the old Willis O'Brien film that never came out. It was actually the reason he got the job to work on the original King Kong back in 1933. So if you want to learn a little bit about Kong's history, go back and watch that one. If you want to learn about a really goofy animated version of Godzilla, go watch the Hanna-Barbera one that came out last week. But that being said, that is the end of the episode. Thank you guys very much for tuning in like normal. Please let us know what you think. If you've seen Kong, I know I asked last time if you were going to see it. Please state if you've seen it, whether you like it or not. Try to keep it as spoiler-free as you can, because we want people to have a good experience when they go out and actually sit down and can enjoy the film. And we do appreciate you guys. Everybody that's subbed, that's come along new, we like that, and we like to see more and more people joining our little group, and it makes it an enjoyable place for everybody. But Zach, why don't you let us know what we're going to be watching in the next 2 weeks?
Absolutely. You can join us again in 2 weeks when we'll be talking about Gorgo, a nice romp through the city of London. As Dan said, thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Kaiju Movie Review. Please leave a comment below. We will be sure to get back to you. And we appreciate each and every one of you for listening to us. So have a good day and take it easy.